No one remembered when the story started. Only that it was old, older than the oldest recorded star charts, older than the fractured empires, older even than the silence between galaxies. They are watching. Archivist Talon had heard those words his entire life. They were carved into ancient stone rings orbiting dead worlds, etched into the hulls of drifting relic ships, whispered in broken signals from places no civilization claimed. They are watching, and when the sky breaks, they will return. It was nonsense. A myth for frightened hatchlings and bored historians. At least, that's what everyone believed. Until the sky split. Talon stood in the observatory dome aboard the research station Irinda, orbiting the outer rim of the Velka system. Before him stretched a quiet void, stars scattered like dust. Behind him, Commander Riker scoffed. "You're wasting time chasing ghost stories again." Talon didn't turn. "It's not a ghost story. It's a pattern. A pattern of superstition," Riker snapped. "Every extinct species leaves behind warnings. It's how they cope with dying." Talon's fingers tightened around the console. "Not like this. These messages, they match. Across civilizations that never met. Same phrasing. Same warning." Riker stepped closer. "And what? You think some ancient species is waiting out there?" Talon hesitated. "I think something survived." Silence settled between them. Then the stars flickered. Not dimmed. Not vanished. Flickered. Talon's breath caught. "Did you see that?" Riker frowned. "Probably a sensor glitch." "No," Talon whispered. "No, that wasn't." The sky tore open. Not metaphorically. Not visually. Reality itself split like fabric under strain. A jagged line of blinding white carved across the void, stretching farther than the eye could follow. It pulsed, alive, humming with a frequency that made Talon's bones ache. The entire station trembled. Alarms screamed to life. "Report!" Riker shouted, grabbing the console. But the systems weren't responding. They were frozen, locked, watching. From the tear, something moved. At first, it was just shadows, massive shapes shifting behind the light. Then, slowly, deliberately, they emerged. Ships. Thousands of them. No, more. An armada. Each vessel was impossibly large, dwarfing anything in known space. Their hulls were dark, almost absorbing starlight, lined with faint glowing patterns that pulsed like a heartbeat. Talon felt his throat go dry. "That's not possible." Riker stared, all arrogance gone. "No species has fleets that size." The first ship cleared the rift completely. Then another. And another. The tear widened, as if reality itself was making room. "They're still coming," Talon whispered. A low signal crackled through the station's speakers. Not a transmission. A broadcast. Ancient. Heavy. Deliberate. The language was unknown, and yet, somehow, the station translated it automatically. Or perhaps it wasn't the station. Perhaps it was meant to be understood. A voice filled the air. Calm. Measured. Terrifying. "We have returned." Riker staggered back. Returned? From where? Talon's mind raced, fragments of ancient texts flooding back. The myths. The warnings. "They didn't disappear," he breathed. "They left." For what? Riker demanded. Talon looked back at the Armada, endless ships pouring into their galaxy. "To wait," he said quietly. The voice spoke again. "We observed your rise." Another ship emerged, larger than the rest, its surface etched with symbols that seemed to shift when stared at too long. "We measured your conflicts." The station's systems flickered back to life, but not under their control. Every screen turned toward the fleet. Every channel overridden. "We recorded your extinction cycles." Riker grabbed Talon's arm. Extinction cycles? Talon's heart pounded. Every major civilization in known history had collapsed. Some violently, some mysteriously, all abruptly. The voice continued. "You were not ready." The largest ship rotated slowly, its massive structure aligning with the station. Talon felt something cold settle in his chest. "They've been watching us the whole time." Riker shook his head. "No, that's impossible. No one could monitor the entire galaxy for that long." Talon swallowed. "What if they didn't need to monitor it?" he said. "What if they built it?" The silence that followed was suffocating. Then, the ship emitted a pulse. Not energy, not sound. Something else. Something that passed through the station like a wave of pressure. Every being aboard froze. Not physically, mentally. Talon couldn't move, couldn't think, could only listen. "Now, you will be judged." And in that moment, Talon realized something far worse than invasion had just begun. This wasn't conquest. This was evaluation. And they had already decided once before that no one in the galaxy was worth saving. The pulse faded. Talon collapsed to his knees, gasping as control of his body returned. Around him, the crew of the Arinda stirred in confusion, panic rippling through the station like a shockwave. What was that? Riker choked, clutching the console for balance. Talon didn't answer immediately. His eyes were locked on the fleet. They had stopped emerging. The tear in space remained open, a glowing wound in reality, but the Armada now hung motionless, silent, patient, watching. "They're not attacking," Talon said finally. Riker let out a shaky laugh. "That's your takeaway?" "They don't need to," Talon replied. "If they wanted us gone, we already would be." Before Riker could respond, the station's communications panel flared to life. Incoming signal. Priority override. System-wide. Every screen shifted again, forming a single unified display. A symbol appeared, sharp, geometric, unfamiliar. And then the voice returned. "Civilizations of this galaxy." The signal expanded, broadcasting far beyond the station. Talon knew, without needing confirmation, that every inhabited world was receiving the same message. "You exist because we allowed it." Riker's hands clenched into fists. "Allowed?" Talon silenced him with a look. "Your histories are incomplete. Your understanding limited." Images began to flash across the screens. Ancient worlds. Thriving cities. Alien species Talon had never seen before. Each image ended the same way. Fire. Destruction. Silence. Talon's breath hitched. Those are pre-recorded extinction events. Each cycle ends the same. The images accelerated. Civilizations rising, advancing, expanding, then vanishing. Again, and again, and again. Riker shook his head violently. "No, no, this is fabricated. It has to be. Conflict. Expansion. Collapse." The voice did not waver. "You repeat the pattern." Talon felt a chill crawl up his spine. "Cycles," he whispered. "They've been resetting us." "Correction." The the voice said instantly. "We have been observing." The images stopped. The screen darkened. Then a single world appeared. Blue. Cloud-covered. Familiar. Talon frowned. "That planet. I don't recognize it." Riker leaned closer. "It's not in any known registry." The voice lowered, almost focused. "Exception detected." The image zoomed in. Continents came into view. Oceans. Cities. Massive, sprawling structures covering entire regions. Talon's heart skipped. "That's a homeworld. Species designation. Human." The word echoed strangely. Unfamiliar. Ancient. Talon felt something stir in his memory, something buried deep in the oldest archives. "A myth," he said slowly. "The forgotten species." Riker stared. "You're telling me those fairy tales are real?" The voice continued. Humans were observed to diverge from the pattern. The image shifted. Scenes of war appeared, violent, chaotic. Explosions. Armies. Destruction on a massive scale. Riker snorted. "Doesn't look very different to me." "Wait," Talon said. The scenes changed again. Rebuilding. Cooperation. Advancement. Faster than any species on record. Rapid adaptation. More images. Humans fighting each other. Then uniting. Then splitting. Then uniting again. Unpredictable resilience. Talon leaned forward, transfixed. "They didn't collapse," he murmured. "They recovered." The voice sharpened. "They resisted the cycle." The final image appeared. A massive fleet. Human ships. Different from the Armada outside, but unmistakably related. Cruder. Earlier. And then. The image cut to black. Silence. Riker exhaled slowly. "So what happened to them?" For the first time, the voice paused. Not long, but long enough to feel deliberate. "They left." Talon's blood ran cold. "Left," he repeated. "You mean?" "They discovered us." The station seemed to grow quieter. Even the hum of its systems felt distant. "They challenged the cycle." Riker took a step back. "That's not possible." "They forced a conclusion." Talon's hands trembled. "You didn't destroy them," he said. "It wasn't a question." Another pause. Then, "No." The single word hit harder than anything else. "We failed." Outside, the massive flagship shifted. Its surface began to glow brighter. And now, the fleet powered up in unison. Energy rippled across thousands of ships. Weapons, or something far worse, coming online. "They return." Talon's eyes widened. "Wait," he whispered. "You're not here to judge us." Riker turned slowly toward him. "Then why are they here?" Talon stared at the Armada, a horrifying realization forming. "They're not the ones we should be afraid of." As if answering him, the tear in space expanded again. But this time, something else came through. Something faster, smaller, sharper, and unmistakably human. The sensors on the Irinda went haywire. Tiny blips appeared first, faint streaks moving impossibly fast across the void. Then shapes began to resolve. Ships, smaller and sharper than anything Talon had ever catalogued. But even in their smaller size, they radiated confidence. Organized. Precise. Human. Riker's jaw dropped. That can't be real." Talon's fingers hovered over the console, trembling. It's them. The myth humans. The fleet emerged fully now, cascading from the tear in space with the grace of predators rather than prey. Their hulls were not as massive as the alien Armada, but their designs were clever, angular, adaptive, and strangely familiar in function. Plasma arrays glimmered along their surfaces, and shields shimmered as if anticipating attacks before they arrived. Every movement displayed intelligence beyond anything the alien observers had expected. Outside the station, the alien Armada seemed to pause. Talon could almost feel their confusion through the station's sensors. The enormous flagship glowed brighter, its symbols shifting nervously. These humans were unpredictable. The first shots rang out, not fired recklessly, but calculated, precise. Small alien skirmishers that had approached the station were neutralized almost before they could react. The humans weren't just returning fire. They were testing, learning, and adapting instantly. Talon whispered, "They evolved." Not just survived. They evolved beyond what the aliens predicted. Riker shook his head in disbelief. They're really here. And they're not afraid. From the station's viewport, the human fleet formed a defensive wedge around the Arinda. Their ships were arranged in a seemingly simple pattern, but every angle offered overlapping fields of fire, coordinated movement, and adaptive shielding. Talon realized they were improvising faster than any AI or alien tactical system he'd ever seen. A massive shockwave rippled through the alien Armada's formation as one human ship executed a daring maneuver, striking several enemy vessels simultaneously. Sparks and energy arcs illuminated the void. The alien fleet responded, but hesitated, their sheer numbers unable to compensate for the humans' unconventional tactics. Riker's voice was hoarse. They weren't supposed to survive. They weren't supposed to come back. Talon's eyes were glued to the fleet. We are witnessing the legend in motion. The largest human vessel, a massive command ship with sleek, angular contours, advanced toward the alien flagship. Its shields flared, deflecting an energy wave that could have obliterated an entire station. The humans didn't attack recklessly. They moved strategically, showing patience and foresight that belied their smaller numbers. On the station screens, the alien symbols shifted repeatedly, like a living language trying to comprehend a new logic. The aliens were intelligent, but Talon realized they had never faced this kind of unpredictability. Humans were not only real, they were a species the galaxy had not seen before, capable of rewriting every expectation. Then the communications panel flared to life again. The alien voice, once calm and ominous, sounded almost anxious. Species, humans, unpredicted variable detected. Fleet parameters, anomalous. Engagement strategy, non-standard. Probability of containment, uncertain. Talon exchanged a look with Riker. They called us a variable. They're scared of us. The human ships moved in harmony, their formation twisting like living strands of light. Each move forced the aliens to react, constantly adjusting. For the first time, the Arinda crew could feel the tide of battle shifting, not in sheer force, but in intelligence and daring. The aliens unleashed a barrage of energy, attempting to overwhelm the human wedge. Yet the humans anticipated it, dispersing and converging with precision, striking multiple targets simultaneously while evading destruction. It was a dance of death and brilliance. Talon swallowed. This is why they were myths. Because nobody expected them to return. Nobody expected them to survive. Riker's eyes narrowed. And yet here they are, fighting back. Not just surviving, but winning. From the observation deck, Talon glimpsed the human flagship break through a wall of alien fire and strike a critical energy conduit on the alien command vessel. A massive explosion illuminated the surrounding ships. Several alien vessels faltered, drifting uncontrollably into the void. "Humans, they don't just adapt," Talon whispered. "They dominate. They improvise. They defy the rules entirely." The part ends with the human fleet fully revealed, the alien Armada caught off guard, and Talon realizing that the galaxy has underestimated humanity at its peril. The void became a battlefield. Starships from both sides maneuvered like predators circling prey, but unlike anything the galaxy had witnessed before, the humans didn't fight in predictable formations. They adapted, feinting and splitting, collapsing back into tighter wedges before striking again with lethal precision. The alien Armada, vast and meticulously organized, suddenly felt chaotic in comparison. From the Arinda's observation deck, Talon and Riker could see it all. The human fleet moved like a single organism, reacting to each threat with instinctive creativity. A small skirmisher darted into the flank of a massive alien dreadnought, dodging plasma beams with impossible agility, then triggered a chain reaction that disabled 3 more enemy vessels. Talon's mouth went dry. "They're rewriting the rules, live." Riker's hands shook as he gripped the railing. "We were told humans were a myth. We were told they were gone. How are they doing this?" "They were never gone," Talon whispered. "They just waited for the right moment." The largest human vessel, the flagship Talon had seen earlier, now advanced toward the alien command ship. Its hull shimmered with adaptive shielding, and faint pulses of energy flared rhythmically along its edges. Every move was deliberate, calculated, and somehow unpredictable. The alien fleet unleashed a concentrated barrage, but the humans twisted, split, and countered, striking vital systems in the alien formation. Explosions illuminated the void like distant fireworks, but the humans remained focused, almost serene in the chaos. One human squadron darted between 2 massive alien cruisers, latching onto energy conduits and detonating charges that sent them spinning helplessly into the void. Another ship deployed decoys that drew entire wings of alien interceptors away from the main fleet. The aliens tried to adjust, but the humans' improvisation and unpredictability forced constant recalibration. It was intelligence, instinct, and daring, all in perfect synchronization. Talon could barely contain his astonishment. They don't just fight, they think 10 moves ahead. They anticipate, they improvise, they dominate every engagement. Riker's eyes widened as a human ship performed a daring maneuver, diving directly through a wall of alien energy, and emerged unscathed behind enemy lines. It launched a precision strike that crippled an alien command cruiser. For the first time, the aliens faltered. Massive vessels slowed, shields flickering as crews struggled to comprehend the humans' tactics. The alien voice spoke again, now tinged with frustration. "Humans. Anomalous. Probability of containment failing. Increasing. Engagement protocols. Insufficient." Talon leaned forward, heart pounding. "They're recalculating. Panic is not in the alien programming. They weren't ready for this." Riker's gaze shifted to the Arinda. "We're just watching history being rewritten. Humanity is incredible." And it was. Every strike, every maneuver, was a testament to ingenuity, courage, and unyielding resolve. The humans weren't the strongest nor the largest, but they were unstoppable in a way the aliens could not predict. Their adaptability was unmatched. Every failed attack by the aliens became a lesson for the humans. They learned, improved, and struck back harder, faster, smarter. From the station, the scale of the battle was dizzying. Thousands of ships clashed, yet the humans moved with clarity and precision. Talon realized why legends had called them myths. They weren't myths because they were extinct. They were myths because no species could comprehend their true capabilities until it was too late. A massive explosion rocked the alien flagship, sending debris spinning toward the human fleet. Yet the humans weaved through the chaos, their ships absorbing, evading, and retaliating in a deadly symphony. Talon could see alien cruisers beginning to retreat, unwilling to risk further losses against a species whose unpredictability defied their calculations. Then, from the human flagship, a pulse of energy radiated outward, synchronized across the entire fleet. It wasn't destructive. It was strategic. Alien ship systems flickered, shields weakened, and command nodes went dark. The humans had turned the alien Armada's own technology against them without a single misstep. Riker shook his head in disbelief. They're manipulating the enemy's systems remotely? They're playing God out here. Talon swallowed hard. They're proving that the galaxy has underestimated them. Humanity is not just alive. They are a force unlike anything we've ever seen. The battle raged on, but the momentum had shifted. The humans, though outnumbered, had gained the advantage. Their courage, creativity, and resilience, qualities that had always made them unpredictable, were now decisive. The alien Armada faltered, disorganized and uncertain, while the human fleet advanced with confidence and precision. As explosions lit the void and the alien ships began to withdraw, Talon finally spoke aloud what he had been thinking. They weren't myths. They were legends, and now the galaxy knows it. The alien Armada's retreat left the void eerily quiet. The stars, once obscured by the massive shadow of their fleet, now gleamed freely across the galaxy. The human fleet, smaller but agile and precise, moved in tight formation, maintaining vigilance even as the enemy withdrew. Their victory was undeniable, yet Talon and Riker both sensed that this moment was more than a battle won. It was a statement. Humanity had returned, and the galaxy would never underestimate them again. From the observation deck of the Arinda, Talon watched the human flagship lead its fleet in a slow, deliberate advance. Its sleek hull reflected starlight, shimmering with the same quiet confidence that seemed to radiate from every human ship. Talon felt a chill as he realized something profound. The humans weren't just surviving. They were asserting themselves as the galaxy's new architects of destiny. Riker's voice was low, awestruck. They weren't supposed to come back. Nobody predicted this. And yet, here they are. Alive. Victorious. They've done more than survive, Talon replied. They've rewritten the rules. The Armada didn't just lose. They learned that humans cannot be calculated, contained, or controlled. They've been underestimated for far too long. The alien flagship, now retreating into the fractured space from which it emerged, sent one final broadcast. The voice was measured, almost reverent. Species, humans, unpredictable, resilient, dominant, recognition granted, re-evaluation required. Talon exhaled slowly. Recognition granted. They're acknowledging humans as equals, or better. Outside, the human fleet surged forward, gliding through the void with an elegance that belied their combat prowess. Smaller skirmishers weaved around the larger vessels, maintaining formation while scanning for lingering threats. The energy signatures of their ships pulsed in unison, almost like a heartbeat. Each light, each movement, declared the presence of a species that refused to be myth. Riker couldn't hide a grin. It's beautiful and terrifying. It's humanity, Talon said simply. Finally, the galaxy can see them as they truly are. The station trembled slightly as one human vessel executed a daring maneuver near the rift left by the alien's departure. Its trajectory was risky, yet precise. For the first time, Talon realized that humans were no longer reacting to threats. They were shaping the battlefield, asserting their strategy across space itself. They were in control. From the station, Talon could see distant planets, scattered across the systems the alien fleet had once dominated. He imagined the messages reaching every corner of the galaxy. The humans had returned. The legends were real. And now, their story would define the future. Riker's eyes followed the fleet as it passed. "Do you think this is just the beginning?" Talon nodded. "This is the start of something far bigger. Humanity will not remain hidden. They'll claim the stars, not for conquest, but for survival, exploration, and proof that nothing, not even the most powerful alien fleets, can predict them." The humans' approach toward the Velka system was steady and decisive. Their ships radiated confidence, a silent message to every civilization watching. The myth is no longer myth. The galaxy's most underestimated species had returned, not as observers, but as active participants in shaping its destiny. In the distance, the alien Armada's lights dimmed, retreating into the void. They had survived, but the message was clear. Humans were no longer a threat to be ignored or dismissed. They were a force the galaxy would have to reckon with. The cycles of extinction and prediction that had governed the stars for millennia had been challenged, and humanity had emerged victorious. Talon and Riker watched in silence as the human fleet passed. There was awe, respect, and something deeper, hope. Hope that a species capable of defying myth and surviving against impossible odds could now guide the galaxy toward a future of unimagined possibilities. Then, with one synchronized pulse across the fleet, the humans signaled the beginning of their next chapter. Ships turned toward distant worlds, engines glowing with energy, moving into unknown sectors with purpose. They were explorers, warriors, survivors, and legends. Talon whispered to himself, almost reverently, "The sky is ours now." The void shimmered with human light. A fleet of mythic proportions, carrying the weight of a species that refused to be forgotten. Across the galaxy, civilizations would watch, tremble, and learn that humans were no longer stories told to frighten children. They were living, unstoppable proof that legends can return stronger than any force that tries to erase them.